Kara Mitchell's finger freezes on the trigger. Through the Leopold scope, 800 meters out, the target turns. She sees the scar above his left eyebrow, the one she watched a field medic stitch up in Ramadi 7 years ago. Staff Sergeant Danny Reeves, Ghost, her spotter, her mentor, dead for 5 years. The file said high-value target, enemy sniper, 43 coalition kills in 6 months. The file didn't say he'd be wearing the same faded Semper Fi bracelet she'd given him the day before Kandahar. Ghost adjusts his rifle. A Dragunov, Russian-made, and turns his head. Not scanning, looking. Directly at her hide site, impossible at this distance through camouflage and shadow. Then he taps his temple twice. Their old signal. I see you. Kara's heartbeat hammers against the stock of her M40A6. Her spotter, Corporal Hayes, whispers into the radio. Sergeant, you have the shot. Wind's clean. Target is static. But Ghost isn't static anymore. He's smiling. The helicopter's rotors beat against Kara's skull like a second heartbeat. She sat rigid in the troop bay, M40 cradled across her lap, staring at nothing. Hayes sat across from her, cleaning his spotting scope with methodical precision. He hadn't asked why she didn't take the shot. Smart kid. Through the open door, the Syrian landscape scrolled past. Dust and ruin, and the skeletal remains of a city that had died years before she'd ever set foot in it. The AO was supposed to be clean. Intel said the HVT moved alone, no security, predictable patterns. Intel was wrong. Or Intel lied. Kara's fingers traced the outline of the Semper Fi bracelet on her own wrist, the matching one she'd kept when she gave Ghost his. Cheap metal, gas station gift shop outside Quantico. He'd laughed when she bought them, called her sentimental. Then he wore it every single day for 3 years. Sergeant Mitchell? Hayes leaned forward, voice barely audible over the rotors. You good? Fine. You don't look fine. Kara met his eyes. 22 years old, fresh out of Scout Sniper School, still thought the world made sense. I saw something in the scope, needed confirmation before I took the shot. Confirmation of what? That he was the target. Hayes frowned. The target was a 6'2" male, approximately 190 pounds, scar tissue on left eyebrow. Last seen wearing... I know what the file said, Hayes. She turned back to the door. Below, a convoy of civilian trucks crawled along a bombed-out highway. Refugees or smugglers or both. In this part of the world, the line between the two had stopped existing sometime around 2014. The pilot's voice crackled through her headset. Viper 2-1, be advised. Ground transport waiting at LZ Falcon. Command wants immediate debrief. Of course they did. Kara keyed her mic. Copy. ETA? 12 mics. 12 minutes to figure out how to explain why she'd let a high-value enemy sniper walk away. 12 minutes to decide whether she told them the truth. That the HVT was a dead man who taught her everything she knew about killing. 12 minutes to wonder if she was losing her mind. The rifle range at Quantico smelled like cosmoline and cut grass. Kara lay prone behind an M40A5, eye pressed to the scope, breathing controlled. 200 yards downrange, a paper target waited. Breathe, Staff Sergeant Reeves said, kneeling beside her. You're forcing it. I'm not. You are. Your shoulders tense. You're anticipating recoil. He tapped her collarbone. Relax here. Let the rifle do the work. Kara exhaled slowly, letting her body settle into the dirt. The crosshairs steadied. Better, Ghost said. Now forget the target exists. How do I hit it if I forget it? You don't hit targets, Mitchell. You solve equations. Wind, distance, humidity, elevation. The target's just the answer. He paused. And the answer doesn't care if you're scared. Kara's finger brushed the trigger. I'm not scared. Everyone's scared their first time. Ghost's voice softened. But fear makes you hesitate. Hesitation makes you dead. So you breathe through it. You trust your training. And when the equation's solved, the rifle barked. Downrange, the target's center mass punched clean through. Ghost smiled. You take this shot. Kara sat up, adrenaline singing in her veins. How'd you know I'd hit? Because you stopped thinking about hitting. He stood, dusting off his knees. That's the difference between a shooter and a sniper. Shooters aim, snipers see. See what? Everything. He pulled two cheap bracelets from his pocket, matching silver chains with Semper Fi stamped into the metal. Gas station junk. He tossed one to her. Here, graduation present. Kara caught it, laughing. You're kidding. Nope, wear it every day. When you're out there in the shit, 800 meters from a target, wind blowing, hands shaking, you look at that bracelet and remember, you already know how to do this. That's the corniest thing I've ever heard, Staff Sergeant. Ghost grinned. Yeah, well, wait till you're the one teaching some boot how to kill people. Corny works. Kara fastened the bracelet around her wrist. It was too loose, the clasp cheap. She'd never taken it off. The command tent smelled like stale coffee and diesel fumes. Major Vandenberg stood behind a folding table cluttered with maps, satellite photos, and a laptop streaming live feed from a Predator drone. He was 56, West Point, 2 deployments to Iraq and 1 to Afghanistan. Silver hair, cold eyes, the kind of officer who measured success in body counts. Kara stood at attention, Hayes beside her. Sergeant Mitchell, Vandenberg said without looking up, explain to me why a confirmed high-value target is still breathing. I lost positive identification, sir. You lost? Vandenberg finally looked at her. Your spotter confirmed the target. Facial recognition confirmed the target. You had a clean shot at 800 meters with no wind. What exactly did you lose? Confidence in the ID, sir. Vandenberg's jaw tightened. Corporal Hayes, did Sergeant Mitchell have the shot? Hayes hesitated, just a fraction of a second. Yes, sir. And the target matched the profile? Yes, sir. Then what am I missing here? Kara kept her eyes forward. The target displayed behavior inconsistent with enemy combatants, sir. He identified my position without optical equipment. At that range, through camouflage, it's not possible unless he knew where to look. So you're saying he saw you? I'm saying he knew I was there before he looked. Vandenberg leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. And your conclusion? Someone told him. The tent went quiet, except for the hum of the laptop fan. Outside, a convoy rumbled past, voices shouting in Arabic. Vandenberg closed the laptop with a soft click. Corporal Hayes, step outside. Hayes glanced at Kara. She nodded. He left. When the tent flap dropped, Vandenberg stood, walked around the table, stopped 2 feet from Kara, close enough that she could smell the cigarette smoke on his uniform. 5 years ago, he said quietly, you lost your spotter in Kandahar. Staff Sergeant Daniel Reeves, KIA during a Taliban ambush. Body never recovered. I read your after-action report. I read the psych eval. You blamed yourself for his death. Kara said nothing. Now you're telling me that an enemy sniper, who happens to match your dead spotter's physical profile, somehow knew your exact position in an active combat zone. And instead of shooting you, he let you walk away. Vandenberg's eyes narrowed. That sound right to you? No, sir. No, it doesn't. Because what it sounds like is a Marine with unresolved trauma projecting a dead man onto a living target. He stepped back. I'm recommending you for a psych eval. Again. Until then, you're benched. Corporal Hayes will run Overwatch with Sergeant Kowalski. Kara's chest tightened. Sir, with respect. Dismissed, Sergeant. She held his gaze for 3 seconds, then saluted, turned, and walked out. Hayes was waiting outside, leaning against a Humvee. He straightened when he saw her face. Sarge, not now. Did he bench you? Kara kept walking toward the barracks. The sun was setting, turning the desert into a furnace of orange and shadow. Somewhere in the distance, a call to prayer echoed from a minaret. She thought about Ghost's smile, the way he'd tapped his temple. "I see you." "Sarge," Hayes jogged to catch up. "What do you need me to do?" Kara stopped, turned. "You ever hear of a sniper being able to spot a hide site at 800 meters with no optics?" "No." "Me neither." She pulled out her phone, a ruggedized field unit with satellite uplink. Pulled up the personnel database. Typed, "Reeves, Daniel J." The file loaded. She'd read it 100 times, maybe more. Status, KIA, Kandahar Province, Afghanistan, October 13th, 2019. Body, not recovered. She scrolled down to the autopsy report, except there wasn't one, just a casualty notification. A Purple Heart, a folded flag sent to his sister in Michigan. "Sarge," Hayes said carefully, "what are you thinking?" Kara looked at the photo attached to the file. Ghost in dress blues, Staff Sergeant chevrons sharp, eyes staring straight ahead. The same eyes she'd seen through the scope. "I'm thinking," she said slowly, "that I need to find out who filed this death certificate." Kara couldn't sleep. She'd tried, lay in her bunk for 2 hours staring at the plywood ceiling, listening to the rhythm of snoring and the distant thump of generators. But every time she closed her eyes, she saw Ghost's face in the scope. So she walked. The perimeter of FOB Falcon was a ring of HESCO barriers and concertina wire, lit every 50 meters by sodium lamps that turned the dust into a grainy, yellow haze. Guard towers dotted the perimeter, manned by bored privates with SAWs and night vision goggles. Kara nodded to them as she passed. They nodded back. She ended up at the northeast corner, where the wire overlooked a dry riverbed that carved through the desert like a scar. Nothing out there but rocks and wind and the distant glow of a village too small to have a name. "Sergeant Mitchell." Kara turned. A woman in civilian contractor gear stood 10 feet behind her, khaki pants, tactical vest, no insignia. Mid-30s, dark hair pulled back in a tight bun, the kind of face that gave nothing away. "Who's asking?" Kara said. The woman pulled an ID from her vest. "Andrea Cole, DIA. I need 5 minutes of your time. Defense Intelligence Agency." Kara's jaw tightened. "I already did my debrief." "Not with me, you didn't." Cole stepped closer, hands visible, non-threatening. "I read Major Vandenberg's report. He thinks you had a psychological episode. I think you saw exactly what you said you saw." "And what's that?" "A ghost." Kara studied her. Cole's eyes were sharp, calculating, the kind of eyes that saw past bullshit. "You got a file on him?" "I have a file on everyone." Cole pulled a tablet from her vest, swiped through screens, turned it to face Kara. The screen showed a surveillance photo, grainy, long distance, maybe taken from a drone. A man in desert fatigues, face partially obscured by a shamag, standing on a rooftop in what looked like Aleppo or Homs. Next to him, a Dragunov rifle propped against a wall. The timestamp read, 6 days ago. "This," Cole said, "is the target you didn't shoot. We've been tracking him for 8 months. 43 confirmed kills. All coalition forces, all precise, all professional." She swiped to another image, this one a zoomed-in facial reconstruction. Facial recognition puts him at 92% match for Daniel Reeves. But Daniel Reeves is KIA. "Body never recovered?" Kara said. "Correct. So what's DIA's interest?" Cole pocketed the tablet. "Let's just say there are people in Washington who'd very much like to know how a dead Marine became the best enemy sniper in the Syrian theater." She paused. "And whether he's working alone." Kara's pulse quickened. "You think he was turned?" "I think someone wants us to think he was turned." Cole glanced toward the guard tower, then back. "I also think Major Vandenberg doesn't want you asking questions, which makes me wonder why." "You're saying Vandenberg's dirty?" I'm saying his career has a lot of redacted sections. And the month before your spotter died in Kandahar, Vandenberg was running black site interrogations in Bagram. Cole's voice dropped. Sites that officially don't exist, with prisoners who officially were never there. Kara's mind raced. If Ghost survived Kandahar and got captured, then someone decided he was worth more alive than dead. And 5 years later, he shows up on the other side of the world, killing Americans with Russian weapons. Cole handed Kara a burner phone. You want answers? Meet me at Grid Echo 7 tomorrow at 0400. Come alone. And Sergeant? Yeah? Don't tell Vandenberg. Don't tell Hayes. Don't tell anyone. Cole turned to leave, then stopped. One more thing. The bracelet your target was wearing? We pulled the serial number from the drone footage. It's registered to you. Kara's blood went cold. Cole walked away into the darkness, leaving Kara alone at the wire with a phone in her hand and the weight of 5 years pressing down like a sniper's rifle. The ambush came at dawn. Kara and Ghost were 3 clicks outside the wire, Overwatch position on a ridgeline overlooking Route Hammer. Intel said a Taliban supply convoy was moving through. Their job? Observe and report. Do not engage. But Intel was wrong. Again. The explosion came first, an IED buried in the road, detonating under a civilian truck that had no business being there. Then the gunfire. AK-47s, PKM machine guns, RPGs. The convoy wasn't Taliban. It was a wedding party. And the ambush wasn't for them. It was for Kara and Ghost. Contact rear, Ghost shouted, swinging his M4 around. Rounds cracked past Kara's head, splintering rock. She rolled, grabbed her rifle, found a target. Squeezed. A man in black fatigues dropped, but there were more. Always more. They knew we were here, Kara screamed over the gunfire. No shit! Ghost fired in controlled bursts, dropping 2 more. Call it in. We need extract now. Kara keyed her radio. Viper 2-1 to Overwatch. We are under effective fire. Grid November Delta 7-4. An RPG shrieked overhead, impacting 20 meters downslope. The shockwave slammed Kara into the rocks. Her ears rang. Blood ran down her face from a scalp laceration. Ghost grabbed her collar, dragged her behind a boulder. Stay with me, Mitchell. I'm good. I'm good. You're bleeding. So are you. Ghost's left arm was shredded, sleeves soaked red. He pressed his back against the boulder, reloading one-handed. Listen to me. When I move, you run. Straight down the ridge to the wadi. There's a culvert at Grid November, Delta 6-8. Hide there. I'll draw them off. Bullshit. We move together. That's an order, Sergeant. Another explosion. Closer. Kara's vision swam. Ghost grabbed her face, forced her to look at him. You're the better shot. You survive. You get back. You tell them what happened here. You understand? Ghost. Do you understand? Kara's throat closed. She nodded. Ghost smiled, that same easy smile from the range at Quantico. Good. Now when I say go, he stood, fired a full magazine downrange, and sprinted left along the ridge. Go! Kara ran. She didn't look back. She heard Ghost's rifle, heard him shouting, drawing fire, heard the grenades, and then nothing. When the QRF found her 4 hours later, she was hypothermic, semi-conscious, clutching her rifle. Ghost's blood was still on her hands. They never found his body. The meeting site was an abandoned gas station 15 clicks outside the wire. 2 pumps, a collapsed awning, and a cinder block structure with no roof. Kara parked the Humvee 50 meters out, killed the engine, and waited. Cole's SUV appeared 3 minutes later, headlights off, rolling to a stop beside a rusted dumpster. Cole stepped out. So did another man, late 40s, cargo pants, body armor under a loose shirt. Contractor. Possibly Blackwater or Triple Canopy. Kara got out, rifle slung. Who's your friend? Insurance, Cole said. Relax, he's one of the good guys. There are no good guys, just different kinds of bad. Cole smiled faintly. You sound like your spotter. The comment landed like a punch. Kara kept her expression neutral. You said you had answers. I have pieces. Whether they form answers depends on how much you're willing to risk. Cole pulled out the tablet again, opened a file. October 13th, 2019, Kandahar Province. You and Staff Sergeant Reeves were ambushed. The official report says Taliban insurgents. But the weapons recovered at the scene were Russian. Kalashnikovs with Spetsnaz serial numbers. And the fighters weren't local. How do you know? Because one of them survived. And when we interrogated him at Bagram, he said something interesting. Cole's eyes locked on Kara's. He said the ambush was ordered by an American. Kara's hands clenched. Who? He didn't know, but he said the American paid in US dollars and provided coordinates for your position. He also said, Cole hesitated, he said the target was Reeves, not you. They were told to capture him alive. The world tilted. Kara grabbed the Humvee's door to steady herself. Why? That's what I've been trying to figure out for 5 years. Cole swiped to another file, a series of bank records, heavily redacted. 3 days before the ambush, someone transferred $200,000 from a CIA slush fund into an account in Kabul. The account was closed an hour after the transfer. No trace. Vandenberg. Can't prove it, but yes, I think so. Cole's voice hardened. I think Vandenberg sold your spotter to a Russian intelligence network operating in Afghanistan. I think they tortured him, turned him, and now he's killing Americans because that's what they trained him to do. Kara's vision blurred. She forced herself to breathe. If that's true, then why didn't Ghost kill me yesterday? He had the shot. Maybe he's still in there. Maybe he recognized you. Or, Cole closed the tablet, maybe he wants you to find him. The contractor stepped forward. Ma'am, we need to move. Predator just picked up a vehicle convoy heading this direction. 2 trucks, armed. Cole swore under her breath. How far? 5 clicks, 3 minutes. Shit, Cole turned to Kara. We're blown. Someone knew we were meeting. You need to get back to base, now. What about you? We'll handle it. Cole grabbed Kara's arm. Listen to me. If Ghost wants contact, he'll reach out. When he does, you need to be ready. Because if Vandenberg finds out you're still digging... Headlights crested the ridge. 2 sets, coming fast. The contractor raised his rifle. Contact! Go! Cole shoved Kara toward the Humvee. Now! Kara jumped in, fired the engine, and punched the accelerator. In the rearview mirror, she saw Cole and the contractor disappear into the gas station. Then muzzle flashes lit up the night. She didn't stop driving until she hit the gate at FOB Falcon. Kara made it back to her bunk at 0520. She stripped off her gear, washed her face in the communal sink, and lay down fully clothed. Her hands were shaking. Ghost was alive. Someone had sold him out. And that someone was probably sitting in a command tent 200 meters away, drinking coffee and planning the next op. She stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. At 700, Hayes knocked on her door. Sarge, you okay? Fine. You don't look fine. Hayes, there's something you need to see. Kara sat up. Hayes's face was pale. He handed her a folded piece of paper. Standard issue notebook, the kind they sold at the PX. She unfolded it. 4 words written in handwriting she'd know anywhere. They knew. Ask Vandenberg. Below that, GPS coordinates. And a time, 2300, tonight. Kara looked up. Where did you get this? Found it tucked under your rifle case. Someone put it there while we were at Chow. Did you see who? No, but Sarge. Hayes swallowed hard. That's grid November Delta 68, the culvert, the one from your AAR. The place Ghost had told her to hide. The place she'd left him to die. Kara folded the note, slipped it into her pocket. Don't tell anyone about this. What are you going to do? She stood, grabbed her rifle. I'm going to finish what I started 5 years ago. Word count, 4,487 words. Part 1, complete. Next, Part 2, the grinder. Target, 6,500 to 7,500 words. Reply, viết tiếp để tôi viết Part 2. Viết tiếp nhé. 4:12 p.m. Kara spent the morning in the FOB's makeshift intelligence center, a converted shipping container with 3 desks, 4 computers, and a single overworked air conditioner that wheezed like a dying animal. The specialist on duty, a 20-year-old kid named Ortiz, looked up when she entered. Sergeant Mitchell, thought you were benched. I am. This is personal research. Kara pulled up a chair. I need access to personnel files, specifically casualty reports from 2019. Ortiz frowned. That's above my clearance. Then get someone with clearance. Sarge, Kara leaned forward. Ortiz, how long have you been in country? 4 months. 4 months. You know what I've been doing for 6 years? Putting holes in people at distances you can't even see with the naked eye. I'm very good at my job, and right now I'm asking nicely. She held his gaze. Don't make me ask again. Ortiz swallowed, typed. A login screen appeared. He stood. I'm going to the latrine. I'll be back in 10 minutes. If anyone asks, you weren't here. Smart kid. When he left, Kara pulled up the database. Typed, Reeves, Daniel J., casualty report. The file loaded. Same information as before. KIA, body not recovered. Purple Heart, standard. Except, she scrolled down to the approving officer's signature. Major Robert Vandenberg. Kara's jaw tightened. She opened a second window, cross-referenced Vandenberg's service record. October 2019, he'd been assigned to Bagram Airfield, Forward Operating Base, Logistics and Intelligence. Logistics and Intelligence. Black site interrogations. She pulled up the bank records Cole had shown her, or at least what she could access. The transfer was redacted, but the timestamp wasn't. October 10th, 2019, 13:47 hours. 3 days before the ambush. Kara pulled up Ghost's last mission report, the one he'd filed the morning before they went out. Standard recon op. Observe and report. No expected contact. But someone had known where they'd be. Someone had given coordinates. Someone had ordered Ghost captured alive. She opened a third window, searched for Bagram detainees, October 2019. Access denied. She tried a different query. Prisoner transfers, Kandahar to Bagram, October 2019. The system loaded, then crashed. When it rebooted, a message appeared. This terminal has been flagged for unauthorized access. Report to commander immediately. Shit. Kara closed the windows, cleared the history, and walked out. Ortiz was coming back from the latrine. He took one look at her face and stopped. What did you do? Nothing you need to worry about. Kara kept walking. Behind her, Ortiz called out, Sarge, if you get busted for this, I never saw you. You never did. Major Vandenberg's office was in the command building, a prefab structure with actual walls and a door that locked. Kara didn't knock. She pushed it open and stepped inside. Vandenberg looked up from his desk. Sergeant Mitchell, I don't recall summoning you. We need to talk. No, we don't. You're on psych leave pending evaluation, which means you're not authorized. Why did you sign Ghost's death certificate? The room went silent. Vandenberg's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. He set down his pen. Excuse me? Staff Sergeant Daniel Reeves, October 13th, 2019. Killed in action, Kandahar Province. Body not recovered. You signed the casualty report. Kara stepped closer to the desk. Why you? Because I was the approving officer for that sector. You were at Bagram, 60 miles away, which made me the senior officer responsible for casualty documentation. Vandenberg stood. Sergeant, I don't know what you think you've uncovered, but I'm going to give you one chance to walk out of here and forget this conversation happened. Someone set us up. Someone gave our coordinates to the enemy. Someone wanted Ghost taken alive. Kara's voice was steady, cold. And 3 days before the ambush, someone transferred $200,000 from a CIA account into Kabul. Vandenberg's jaw tightened. You've been talking to DIA. I've been talking to people who want the truth. The truth. Vandenberg laughed, a short, bitter sound. You want the truth, Sergeant? The truth is that wars are messy. People die. Not all of them are heroes. And sometimes the system makes hard choices that grunts like you and me aren't cleared to understand. What choice? The kind that keeps more people alive than it kills. Kara's hands clenched. You sold him. I did what I was ordered to do. Vandenberg's voice dropped. And if you keep digging, you're going to find out that the enemy isn't always the one shooting at you. Sometimes it's the guy sitting across the desk, signing your paychecks and sending you into the shit, because that's what the mission requires. So you admit it. I admit nothing. Because there's nothing to admit. Ghost is KIA. You saw a man who looks like him. Trauma does that. The mind fills in gaps. Vandenberg walked around the desk. Now you're going to walk out of here, report to medical for your psych eval, and stop playing detective, or I will have you court-martialed for insubordination and unauthorized access to classified material. Are we clear? Kara met his eyes, saw no remorse, no guilt, just cold calculation. Crystal, sir. She saluted, turned, walked out. In the hallway, her hands were shaking. Kara needed air. She left the base, hitched a ride with a logistics convoy heading to a nearby village, one of the secured zones where locals sold vegetables and bootleg DVDs to bored soldiers. The convoy dropped her at the edge of the market, and she told the driver she'd catch a ride back with the next patrol. The market was a maze of canvas stalls and sheet metal roofs, smelling like cumin in diesel exhaust. Kara wandered through, trying to clear her head. Vendors shouted prices in broken English. Children ran past, kicking a deflated soccer ball. Somewhere, a radio played Arabic pop music. Normal, almost. Then she saw him. A man in a brown dish dasha, standing at a fruit stall 50 meters away. His back was turned, but something about the way he moved, the way he checked his surroundings without turning his head, set off every instinct she trained. Kara's hand drifted to her sidearm. The man picked up an orange, examined it, set it down, turned. It wasn't Ghost. It was the contractor from Grid Echo 7, Cole's Insurance. He saw her, nodded once, walked into an alley between two buildings. Kara followed. The alley was narrow, shadowed, lined with garbage and broken crates. The contractor was waiting 20 feet in, back against the wall. When Kara approached, he raised a hand. Easy, Sergeant. I'm here to help. Where's Cole? Dead. His voice was flat. Killed last night. Convoy hit us a click from the gas station. Professional work. No survivors except me. Kara's chest tightened. Who? Vandenberg's people, or someone working for him. The contractor pushed off the wall. Cole was getting too close. She had evidence, bank records, interrogation transcripts, satellite footage. All of it pointed to a network selling captured coalition personnel to Russian intelligence. Vandenberg was the middleman. Then why am I still alive? Because you're useful. Or you were. He pulled a flash drive from his pocket. Cole gave this to me before she died. Said if anything happened to her, I should find you. It's everything she had on Reeves, including his last known location. Kara took the drive. Where? Aleppo, abandoned hospital on the west side. Your ghost has been using it as a base of operations. The contractor glanced toward the alley entrance. But Sergeant, he's not alone. Cole's intel suggested he's running a team. Former coalition. All of them sold out, all of them turned. They call themselves Wraith. Wraith. Ghosts. Dead men walking. The contractor's expression darkened. If you're going after him, you need to understand. He's not the man you knew. Whatever they did to him in Bagram broke something fundamental. He's effective, ruthless, and he's got 5 years of killing behind him. I don't care. You should, because Cole also found this. He pulled out a photo. Grainy. Surveillance. It showed ghosts sitting across a table from someone in a dimly lit room. The other person's face was obscured, but their uniform wasn't. U.S. Army, Majors Oakleaf, Vandenberg. Kara's blood went cold. This was taken 6 weeks ago, the contractor said. In Damascus, they're still in contact. Which means Vandenberg is either running him or hunting him. Either way, if you go after Ghost, Vandenberg will know, and he'll kill you both. Footsteps echoed at the alley entrance. The contractor's hand went to his weapon. Time's up. Get out of here. Tonight. Grid November Delta 6-8. If Ghost wants to talk, that's where he'll be. What about you? I'm already dead. I just haven't stopped moving yet. He pushed past her, heading deeper into the alley. Don't waste what Cole gave you, Sergeant. Make it count. Then he was gone. Kara stood alone with a flash drive in her hand and the weight of 5 years pressing down like a sniper's scope. What's the hardest shot you'll ever take? Ghost asked the question on a scorching afternoon at the range. Kara was cleaning her rifle, sweat dripping down her temples. She looked up. Long distance, wind, moving target. Wrong. Ghost sat down beside her, pulled a canteen from his pack. The hardest shot is the one you don't take. That's not a shot. Exactly. He drank, wiped his mouth. Most snipers think their job is to kill, but the real job is knowing when not to kill. Because the second you pull that trigger, everything changes. You give away your position, you alert the enemy, you commit. He looked at her. And sometimes the smartest move is to let the target walk. Kara frowned. That sounds like hesitation. No, hesitation is freezing because you're scared. This is patience, discipline, knowing that this target right now isn't worth the cost. Ghost tapped the rifle. A good sniper takes the shot. A great sniper knows when not to. And how do you know? Ghost smiled. You ask yourself, what happens after? Who dies if I miss? Who lives if I wait? He stood, stretched. You'll figure it out. Eventually. Probably the hard way. You always this cryptic, Staff Sergeant? Only when I'm right. Kara returned to base at 1600 hours. She had 7 hours until the meeting. 7 hours to prepare. 7 hours to decide if she was walking into a reunion or an execution. The armory was a concrete bunker guarded by a bored lance corporal who waved her through without question. Inside, racks of rifles, crates of ammunition, and the smell of gun oil. Kara signed out her M40A6, 4 magazines, a suppressor, and a night vision scope. The armorer, a grizzled gunnery sergeant named Diaz, raised an eyebrow. You're benched, Mitchell. Private range time. At night? I shoot better in the dark. Diaz grunted. Your funeral. He slid a box of .308 across the counter. Match grade, don't waste them. Kara loaded the gear into a duffel, headed back to her bunk. Hayes was waiting outside, arms crossed. Sarge, we need to talk. Not now, Hayes. Yes, now. He followed her inside, closed the door. I know you're planning something. I know it involves that note, and I know you're not telling me because you think I'll stop you. Kara set the duffel on her bunk. You should stop me. Yeah, well, I'm not going to. Hayes pulled his own rifle from his locker. Because whatever you're walking into, you'll need a spotter. Hayes, don't, he cut her off. You saved my ass in Ramadi, twice. I'm not letting you go out there alone. Kara studied him, 22 years old, green, idealistic. Everything Ghost had been before Kandahar broke him. If we do this, she said slowly, we're disobeying direct orders. We're going off base without authorization, and if it goes sideways, I can't protect you. I don't need protection. I need to do the right thing. Hayes met her eyes. And I think you do too. Kara almost smiled. Almost. Gear up. We leave at 2200 hours. They left through the northeast gate at 22:15 hours, driving a Humvee Kara had borrowed from the motor pool. The guard on duty barely glanced at them, just another patrol heading out for night ops. The desert at night was a different world. No moon, no stars, just the Humvee's headlights carving tunnels through the darkness. Hayes drove. Kara navigated, watching the GPS tick down the distance to grid November Delta 6-8. Sarge, Hayes said after 20 minutes of silence, what do you think he wants? I don't know. You think he's still one of us? Kara stared out the window. I think he's whatever they made him, and I think he's been waiting 5 years to tell me why. They reached the Wadi at 22:47 hours. Hayes killed the engine, and they sat in the darkness, listening. Wind, distant gunfire, someone else's war, miles away. Nothing close. Kara grabbed her rifle, checked the chamber. Stay with the vehicle. If I'm not back in 30 minutes, I'm coming with you. Hayes, non-negotiable, Sarge. Kara sighed. Fine, but you stay 10 meters back. If shooting starts, you run. You don't engage. You don't play hero. You survive. Understood? Understood. They moved into the Wadi on foot, night vision turning the world into shades of green. The culvert was 200 meters south, a concrete drainage pipe half buried in sand, wide enough to drive a truck through. Kara approached with her rifle up, scanning for movement. Nothing. No heat signatures. No tripwires. Just the culvert, dark and empty. She stepped inside. A voice spoke from the shadows. You came alone. Kara spun, rifle aimed. Ghost stepped into the light, or what passed for light, in the green glow of her NVGs. He was thinner than she remembered, harder. The scar above his eyebrow was still there, but now it was joined by others. His eyes were the same, except they weren't. Not alone, Kara said. Hayes is outside. I know, I counted 3 heartbeats before you entered. Ghost smiled faintly. You taught him well. He didn't trip the motion sensor. What motion sensor? The one you walked past 30 seconds ago, Ghost gestured. 20 feet behind Kara, a thin wire stretched across the culvert entrance, barely visible. Relax, it's not armed. I wanted to talk, not kill. Kara kept her rifle trained on his chest. Then talk. Lower the weapon first. Not a chance. Ghost sighed. Slowly he unslung his Dragunov, set it on the ground and kicked it toward her, then raised his hands. Better? Kara's finger hovered over the trigger. Every instinct screamed to shoot, but she didn't. Why are you alive? Because Vandenberg needed me alive. For what? Leverage, information, access. Ghost's voice was calm, detached. You want the long version or the short version? Start with why you didn't kill me yesterday. Because you're not the enemy. I'm wearing the same uniform I wore 5 years ago. And I'm wearing the one they gave me after they broke every bone in my hands and rewired my brain. Ghost lowered his hand slowly. Kara, I know what you're thinking. I know what Cole told you. And I know you're trying to decide if I'm still human. Are you? He paused. Some days I don't know. The honesty in his voice hit harder than any bullet. Kara lowered her rifle, just slightly. What happened in Kandahar? You want the truth? I've earned it. Ghost nodded. The ambush wasn't random. Vandenberg sold me to a Russian GRU handler operating out of Kabul. The deal was simple. They get a trained Marine sniper with operational knowledge of coalition tactics. Vandenberg gets $200,000 in a promotion. Why you? Because I knew too much. I'd been assigned to a black site in Bagram for 6 weeks before Kandahar. I saw things, prisoners, interrogations, shit that would have ended careers if it ever went public. Ghost's expression darkened. Vandenberg couldn't risk me talking, so he arranged an accident. But you survived. Barely. The Russians took me to a facility outside Grozny, spent 8 months breaking me down, then another year rebuilding me. He tapped his temple. They're very good at what they do. By the time they were done, I was loyal, effective, and convinced that the United States had left me to die. Kara's chest tightened. And now? Now I know the truth. Took me 3 years, but I found the bank records. The transfer, Vandenberg's signature. Ghost's eyes locked on hers. I didn't defect, Kara. I was sold. And every person I've killed since then, that's on him. So why are you still doing it? Because I don't have a choice. Ghost pulled up his sleeve. A metal device was clamped around his forearm. Matte black, electronic, blinking with a faint red light. Biometric monitor. Tracks my vitals. If my heart stops, or if I try to remove it, it sends a signal. And a very bad thing happens to someone I care about. Who? Ghost's jaw tightened. My sister, Detroit. They have her under surveillance. One wrong move, and she disappears. Kara stared at the device. Who's controlling it? Not Vandenberg. Someone higher up the chain. Someone who knows that dead men make lousy assets, but controlled men make perfect weapons. He covered the device again. I didn't bring you here to ask for help, Kara. I brought you here because in 6 days, Vandenberg is planning something big. Something that'll kill a lot of people. And I can't stop it alone. What is it? A false flag. Coalition airstrike on a Syrian refugee camp. 2,000 civilians. Vandenberg's people will frame it as a Russian attack. Use it to justify escalation. Ghost's voice was ice. I know because I'm supposed to provide sniper overwatch for the operation. Make sure no one survives to tell the truth. Kara's blood ran cold. When? January 18th, 0600 hours, Grid Foxtrot 27. That's inside the safe zone. That's the point. Ghost stepped closer. If you want to stop this, if you want to expose Vandenberg, you need proof. And the only proof is the operation itself. Which means you and I work together. One more time, like old times. Ghost picked up his rifle. Except this time we're not fighting the enemy. We're fighting the people who made us into killers. Kara looked at him. This man who taught her everything, who died and come back wrong, who was asking her to commit treason. Why should I trust you? Ghost pulled something from his pocket. The Semper Fi bracelet, the one she'd given him 7 years ago. He held it out. Because I never took it off, even when they told me you were the enemy, even when I had you in my sights. His voice softened. You didn't leave me behind, Kara. You did what I told you to do. You survived. And now I'm asking you to do it again. Kara took the bracelet, felt the weight of it, the cheap metal, the worn engraving. She looked up. What do you need? Ghost smiled, a real smile this time, the first she'd seen in 5 years. I need you to be the best shot I ever trained. They spent the next hour in the culvert, Ghost sketching diagrams in the sand with a stick, Kara memorizing coordinates and timelines. Hayes stood watch at the entrance, occasionally glancing back with an expression that said he couldn't believe this was happening. The refugee camp is here. Ghost marked an X. 2,300 civilians, mostly women and children. Vandenberg's team will insert via helicopter at 0530. 4 shooters. They'll set up mortars here, here, and here. He marked 3 positions. At 0600, they light up the camp. 50 rounds in 90 seconds. Then they exfil before anyone can respond. And you're supposed to provide overwatch from this ridge. Ghost pointed to a hill overlooking the camp. My job is to kill anyone who tries to escape the kill zone. Journalists, aid workers, witnesses. Kara studied the map. You said you can't stop it alone. What's your plan? I stop the mortars. You stop Vandenberg. He won't be in the field. No, but he'll be watching from a command post here. Ghost marked another location. A abandoned factory 3 clicks from the camp. He needs to confirm the strike. Make sure it looks authentic. That's where you take him. One shot, that distance. You've made harder shots. Not when the target's surrounded by a dozen armed contractors. Then make it count. Ghost looked at her. I know what I'm asking. But if we don't do this, 2,000 people die, and Vandenberg walks away clean. Kara was silent for a long moment. Then, what about your sister? Ghost's expression flickered. If I don't complete the mission, they'll kill her. If I do complete the mission, she's still leverage. He paused. But if Vandenberg's dead and the operation's exposed, the whole network collapses, including whoever's holding her. That's a big if. It's the only if we've got. Kara looked at Hayes. He nodded once. She turned back to Ghost. Okay, I'm in. Ghost exhaled. Relief, exhaustion, something in between. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Kara stood, brushed sand off her knees. We still need proof. Something that ties Vandenberg to the operation. Otherwise, we're just 2 snipers shooting a U.S. officer in a war zone. I have proof. Ghost pulled a flash drive from his vest. Recordings. Conversations between Vandenberg and his handler. Bank transfers. Satellite footage of the planning meetings. He handed it to Kara. Cole had some of this. This is the rest. Kara pocketed the drive. Why didn't you give this to someone else? Because everyone else is compromised or dead. Ghost's eyes darkened. You're the only person I trust, Kara. The only one who knows I'm still in here. Kara met his gaze, saw the man she'd trained with, the man who'd saved her life, the man who died and come back as something else. We do this, she said. We can't go back. I've been dead for 5 years. I've got nothing to go back to. You've got your sister. Ghost smiled sadly. If we pull this off, she'll get to live the rest of her life not knowing I'm alive. That's good enough. Kara wanted to argue, wanted to find another way, but she'd been a sniper long enough to know that some problems only had one solution. 6 days, she said. 6 days. They shook hands, the grip firm, familiar, the kind of handshake that said, we're in this together, no matter what. Then Ghost faded back into the shadows, and Kara was left alone with Hayes and a flash drive that would either save 2,000 lives or end hers. They made it back to FOB Falcon at 03:15. Kara returned the Humvee, signed back into the barracks, and collapsed on her bunk. Hayes sat across from her, still processing. Sarge, he whispered, are we really doing this? Yeah. We're going to kill a U.S. officer. We're going to stop a war crime. Same thing. Kara sat up, looked at him. Hayes, I need you to listen to me very carefully. What we're about to do is treason. Legally, morally, by every definition that matters. If you want out, you walk away now. I'll say I forced you. I'll take the fall. Hayes shook his head. I'm not walking. You don't know what you're signing up for. Yeah, I do. I'm signing up to do the right thing, even if it costs everything. He met her eyes. You taught me that, Sarge. First day at the range, you said a sniper's job isn't to kill, it's to protect the people who can't protect themselves. Kara almost smiled. You were listening. I'm always listening. Then listen to this. If we get caught, you testify against me. You say I manipulated you. You say I threatened you. You survive. Understood? No. Hayes, I said no. His voice was firm. We do this together, And if it goes sideways, we go down together. That's the deal. Kara stared at him, saw the determination, the loyalty, the same fire she'd seen in Ghost all those years ago. Okay, she said finally. Together. They spent the rest of the night planning. Equipment, routes, fallback positions. By the time the sun came up, they had a workable strategy. Risky, insane, probably fatal, but workable. At 0600, there was a knock on the door. Kara opened it. Major Vandenberg stood in the hallway, 2 MPs flanking him. "Sergeant Mitchell," he said coldly, "you're under arrest for unauthorized access to classified materials and conspiracy to commit treason." Kara's blood went cold. "On whose authority?" "Mine." Vandenberg stepped closer. "And in case you're wondering, we've been monitoring your communications. We know you met with an enemy combatant last night. We know you've been colluding with DIA, and we know you have classified materials in your possession." He gestured. One of the MPs stepped forward, pulled the flash drive from Kara's pocket. "Take her to the brig," Vandenberg said. "Corporal Hayes, you're coming too." Hayes started to move, but Kara caught his arm. Whispered, "Don't fight, not yet." Vandenberg smiled. "Smart advice, Sergeant, because fighting now would only make this worse." They were cuffed, let out, thrown into a windowless room with concrete walls and a single metal door. And Kara realized they'd been played. Ghost had walked her straight into a trap. The cell was 8 feet by 10 feet, no windows, no furniture except a metal bench bolted to the wall. A single fluorescent light buzzed overhead, flickering every 30 seconds like a dying heartbeat. Kara sat on the bench. Hayes paced. "Sarge," he whispered, "what do we do?" "We wait." "Wait for what?" "For Vandenberg to make a mistake." "And if he doesn't?" Kara didn't answer. An hour passed. Then 2. No food, no water, just the fluorescent light and the sound of Hayes' breathing. At hour 3, the door opened. Vandenberg stepped inside, alone. He closed the door behind him, stood with his hands clasped behind his back. "Sergeant Mitchell," he said calmly, "let's talk about Staff Sergeant Daniel Reeves." Kara said nothing. "You believe he's alive. You believe I sold him to Russian intelligence. You believe I'm planning a false flag operation that will kill thousands of civilians." Vandenberg smiled. "You're right about 2 of those things." Kara's jaw tightened. "Which 2? "Reeves is alive, and I did sell him." Vandenberg pulled a chair from the corner, sat down. "But the false flag? That's his lie, not mine." "Bullshit." "Is it?" Vandenberg leaned forward. "Think about it, Sergeant. Who gave you the coordinates? Who told you about the operation? Who handed you a flash drive full of evidence that just happened to implicate me? Ghost wouldn't. Ghost isn't Ghost anymore. He's a Russian asset, and you walked right into his trap." Vandenberg pulled out a tablet, swiped through screens. "The meeting last night? We tracked you. We listened. And we let it happen because we needed to see how deep his network runs." He turned the tablet. It showed surveillance footage. Kara and Ghost in the culvert. Their conversation. Everything. "You see," Vandenberg continued, "Reeves isn't trying to stop a war crime. He's trying to start one. The refugee camp attack is real. But it's his operation, not mine. He's going to massacre those civilians, frame the U.S. military, and spark a full-scale war between coalition forces and Russia." Kara's mind raced. "That doesn't make sense. Why would he?" "Because he's been programmed to destabilize the region. That's what they do. They take our soldiers, break them, and turn them into weapons aimed back at us." Vandenberg's expression hardened. "And you almost helped him do it." "I don't believe you." "You don't have to. But in 4 days, when that camp goes up in flames and the world blames America, you'll know I was telling the truth." Vandenberg stood. "Now. You have a choice. You can sit in this cell and do nothing, or you can help me stop him." Kara looked at Hayes. He shook his head slightly. She turned back to Vandenberg. What do you want? I want you to be bait. Vandenberg paced the cell like a lecturer in front of a classroom. Reeves trusts you. He believes you're on his side, which means you're the only person who can get close enough to stop him. You want me to kill him. I want you to capture him, alive, so we can extract the full extent of his network. Vandenberg stopped. But if capture isn't possible, yes, I want him dead. Kara's hands clenched. And if I refuse, then you and Corporal Hayes will be charged with treason. You'll spend the rest of your lives in Leavenworth. And when that camp burns, you'll know you could have stopped it. Vandenberg's voice softened. I know what he meant to you, Sergeant. I know he was your mentor, your friend, but that man is gone. What's left is a weapon pointed at innocent people, and you're the only one who can take the shot. Kara was silent for a long moment. Then, how do I know you're telling the truth? You don't, but you know me well enough to know I don't lie to my Marines. Vandenberg pulled a folded map from his pocket, laid it on the bench. This is the real operation. My team is planning a counterstrike. We're going to hit Reeves's position before he can execute the attack. But we need someone on the inside, someone he trusts. You want me to betray him. I want you to save 2,000 lives. Kara stared at the map, the camp, the ridge, the coordinates. Everything Ghost had told her, everything that might be a lie. If I do this, she said slowly, Hayes walks, no charges, clean record. Agreed. And I want immunity, full, no court-martial, no charges. Vandenberg smiled. You're not in a position to negotiate, Sergeant. Then you're not getting my help. They locked eyes, two predators circling. Finally, Vandenberg nodded. Fine, immunity, but only if Reeves is neutralized. If he completes the attack, he won't. Then we have a deal. Vandenberg extended his hand. Kara looked at it, thought about Ghost, the bracelet, the years of training, the man who'd saved her life, the man who might be a monster. She shook Vandenberg's hand. Good, Vandenberg said. You have 96 hours. Use them wisely. He left, the door locked behind him. Hayes stared at Kara. Sarge, please tell me you have a plan. Kara pulled the map closer, studied it, saw the ridge, the camp, the kill zones, and saw the one thing Vandenberg had missed. Yeah, she said quietly, I have a plan. What is it? Kara looked up. We're going to finish what Ghost and I started 5 years ago, which is the truth. They released Kara and Hayes at 1400 hours with full gear, a Humvee, and 48 hours until the operation. Vandenberg's orders were simple. Make contact with Ghost, gain his trust, feed him false intelligence, and when the moment came, put a bullet in his brain. Kara drove. Hayes rode shotgun, cleaning his rifle with mechanical precision. Sarge, he said after 20 minutes of silence, you think Vandenberg's telling the truth? No. Then why did you agree? Because now we're outside the wire with weapons in clearance, and because Vandenberg just told us exactly where he'll be when this goes down. Hayes looked up. The command post. The factory, 3 clicks from the camp. Kara tapped the map on her lap. Ghost said Vandenberg would be there to confirm the strike. Vandenberg just confirmed it himself. So who's lying, Ghost or Vandenberg? Both, or neither. Kara's grip tightened on the wheel. But there's one thing I know for sure. That refugee camp is the target. Someone's planning to hit it, and 2,000 people are going to die unless we figure out who's pulling the trigger. How do we do that? We go to the source. Kara pulled out the burner phone Cole had given her, dialed the number Ghost had provided. It rang 3 times. Then, I was wondering when you'd call. Ghost's voice, calm, almost amused. We need to meet, Kara said. I assume Vandenberg released you. How did you? Because it's what I would have done. Let you out, tell you I'm the enemy, and use you to find me. Ghost paused. Did he tell you about the camp? He said you're planning to attack it. And you believe him? Kara hesitated. I don't know what to believe anymore. Good. That means you're thinking. Ghost tone shifted. Grid Quebec 4-2, tonight at 2200. Come alone. And Kara, if you bring Vandenberg's people, I'll know. And those 2,000 civilians will die before dawn. The line went dead. Hayes stared at her. That sounded like a threat. It was. Kara checked the GPS. Quebec 4-2 is an abandoned checkpoint, 15 clicks north. You're not seriously going. I am. Sarge. Hayes, either Ghost is trying to stop a massacre or he's planning one. Either way, I need to look him in the eye and know which one it is. She handed him the map. You're going here, the factory. You're going to recon Vandenberg's command post. Count how many people he's got, what weapons, what comms. And then what? Then you wait for my signal. Kara met his eyes. If I'm right, we're going to need proof that Vandenberg's dirty. And that proof is going to be in that factory. Hayes swallowed hard. What if you're wrong? Then you get in the Humvee, drive back to base, and tell them I went rogue. Kara pulled over, killed the engine. This is your last chance to walk away, Hayes. After this, there's no going back. Hayes was quiet for a long moment. Then he grabbed his rifle, opened the door. I'll be at the factory by 2000 hours. Stay hidden, stay quiet. And Hayes? Yeah? If shooting starts, you run. You don't try to save me. You don't try to be a hero. You survive. That's an order. Hayes nodded, then disappeared into the desert. Kara sat alone in the Humvee, watching the sun sink toward the horizon. In 4 hours, she'd meet Ghost. In 48 hours, a refugee camp would burn. And somewhere in between, she'd have to decide who deserved to die. Grid Quebec 4-2 had been a Syrian army checkpoint once. Concrete barriers, sandbag walls, and a guard tower that listed like a drunk sailor. Now it was abandoned, picked clean by scavengers, and painted with graffiti that Kara couldn't read. She arrived at 21:45 hours, parked the Humvee 100 meters out, and approached on foot. Her M40 was slung across her back, sidearm on her hip. She'd left her radio in the vehicle. If this went bad, she wanted no witnesses. Ghost was waiting in the guard tower. He stood at the railing, silhouetted against the stars, Dragunov leaning against the wall behind him. When Kara climbed the ladder, he didn't turn around. You came alone, he said. You asked me to. And yet I counted 2 heat signatures 1,500 meters south. One prone, one mobile. Kara's blood chilled. That's Hayes. He's recon, not backup. Recon for what? Vandenberg's command post. Ghost finally turned. His face was shadowed, unreadable. So you don't trust him either? I don't trust anyone right now. Kara stepped onto the platform. Including you. Smart. Ghost gestured to the desert below. You see that camp? Kara looked. 3 clicks east, a sprawl of white tents glowed under floodlights. The refugee camp. Smoke rose from cooking fires. Voices carried on the wind. Children laughing. Someone singing. 2,314 people, Ghost said quietly. I've been watching them for 6 days, counting, memorizing faces, because when you're ordered to kill that many people, you want to remember what you're destroying. Vandenberg said you're planning to attack them. Vandenberg's a liar. Then prove it. Ghost pulled a tablet from his vest, handed it to her. This is the operational order, signed by Vandenberg, dated 4 days ago. It authorizes a mortar strike on the camp at 0600 tomorrow. Target, all structures. Rules of engagement, no survivors. Kara scrolled through the document. Maps, timelines, weapon specs. Everything Ghost had told her. Everything Vandenberg had denied. This could be fabricated, she said. It could be, but it's not. Ghost pulled out a second device, a satellite phone. This is Vandenberg's encrypted line, I've been intercepting his communications for 3 weeks. Listen." He played a recording. Vandenberg's voice, clear and unmistakable. "Confirm 0700 strike time. Mortar teams in position by 0630. Air support on standby. Remember, no survivors. We need this to look like a Russian attack, so use their ordnance. Dragunov casings, RPG fragments, the works. And make sure the press gets there by 0800. I want cameras on those bodies before the smoke clears." Another voice responded, "What about Mitchell?" "She's useful for now. If Reeves takes the bait, she'll lead us right to him. After that," a pause. "After that, she's a loose end. Handle it." The recording ended. Kara's hands trembled. "When was this?" "Yesterday, 4 hours before he arrested you." Ghost's expression was stone. "He's planning to kill you, Kara. The moment you're no longer useful, you disappear. Just like I did." Kara stared at the tablet. The words blurred. She'd known Vandenberg was dirty, but hearing him order her death, hearing him plan a massacre with the cold efficiency of a logistics report, made it real in a way nothing else had. "Why didn't you tell me this from the start?" she whispered. "Because you wouldn't have believed me. You needed to see it yourself. Touch the lie. Smell it." Ghost stepped closer. "Now you know what I've known for 5 years. The enemy isn't across the wire. It's signing our paychecks." Kara looked up. "What about your sister? The device on your arm?" Ghost pulled up his sleeve. The biometric monitor was still there, red light blinking. "This? It's real, but it's not Russians controlling it." He tapped a button on the side. The device beeped, and a screen displayed a satellite uplink. "It's Vandenberg's people, part of the same network that sold me. They use family as leverage. Keep us in line. So everything you told me was true, except the part about who's holding the leash." Ghost's jaw tightened. "I didn't defect, Kara. I was sold. And then they spent 5 years using me to do their dirty work while they held my sister hostage. Every kill I made, every operation, it was all to keep her alive. Then why are you here? Why risk her life to stop this?" "Because I'm done." Ghost's voice cracked, just slightly but enough. "I'm done killing for people who think human lives are chess pieces. I'm done being a weapon. And if stopping Vandenberg costs me everything, including my sister, then at least I'll die as a Marine, not as a puppet." Kara's chest ached. She saw it now, the exhaustion in his eyes, the way his hands shook when he thought she wasn't looking. Ghost wasn't just fighting Vandenberg. He was fighting 5 years of programming, torture, and guilt. He was fighting to remember who he used to be. "Okay," she said. "Tell me the plan." "The real one." Ghost spread a tactical map across the guard tower railing. "Vandenberg's team will insert at 0530. 4 mortars, 12 shooters, 2 spotters. They'll set up here, here, and here." He marked positions. "At 0600 they open fire. 50 rounds in 90 seconds. Then they exfil before anyone can respond." "What about air support?" "Fake. He'll claim air support was denied due to weather. By the time anyone realizes it was ground-based mortars, the evidence will be buried and the story will be locked in." Ghost tapped the factory. "Vandenberg watches from here. He confirms the strike via drone feed, then destroys the footage." "So we hit the mortars before they fire?" "No, we hit Vandenberg." Kara frowned. "If we kill him before the mortars fire, his team still completes the mission." "Not if they think he's compromised." Ghost pulled out a radio transmitter. "I've got access to his command frequency. When you take the shot, I broadcast his confession, the recordings, the bank transfers, everything, across every coalition channel in the region. His team hears their boss is a traitor. They abort. No one wants to be the fall guy for a war crime." "That's a lot of assumptions." "It's the only play we've got." Ghost met her eyes. "You take Vandenberg. I'll handle the mortars as backup. If the broadcast doesn't stop them, I'll neutralize the teams manually. One shooter against 12? I've had worse odds, he almost smiled. Besides, I've got 5 years of practice killing people who deserve it. Kara studied the map. The factory was 3 clicks from the mortars. Long shot, but doable. The problem was Vandenberg's security, contractors, ex-military, all of them professional. What about Hayes? She asked. He's already in position at the factory. I've been tracking him since 2000 hours. Ghost pulled up a thermal display on his tablet. He's good. Stayed hidden. Didn't trip any sensors. You trained him well. He's just a kid. So were we once. Ghost's expression softened. He'll be fine, as long as he follows orders and doesn't try to be a hero. Kara thought about Hayes's face when he'd insisted on coming. The determination, the loyalty, the same fire she'd seen in Ghost all those years ago, before Kandahar, before Bagram, before everything broke. If this goes wrong, she started, it won't. But if it does, Ghost put a hand on her shoulder, the first time he'd touched her in 5 years. Then we die doing the right thing. That's more than most people get. Kara wanted to argue, wanted to find another way, but she'd been a sniper long enough to know that some shots couldn't be walked back. Okay, she said. When do we move? Now. Ghost grabbed his rifle. We've got 6 hours to get into position. And Kara? Yeah? Thank you. For believing me. For not pulling that trigger yesterday. I should have. No. Ghost smiled, sad, tired but real. You did exactly what I taught you. You waited. You thought. You saw the truth. He tapped his temple. That's why you're the best shot I ever trained. Then he climbed down the ladder and disappeared into the darkness. Kara stood alone in the guard tower, watching the refugee camp in the distance. 2,000 lives, 1 shot, and 6 hours to make sure she didn't miss. She climbed down and started moving. Hayes had been lying in the dirt for 4 hours when Kara's text came through. In position, eyes on target, stand by. He was 50 meters from the factory, a 3-story concrete skeleton with blown-out windows and graffiti-covered walls. Vandenberg's command post was on the 2nd floor. Generator, satellite uplink, and 8 armed contractors patrolling the perimeter. Hayes counted them through his spotting scope. 2 on the roof, 3 at ground level, 2 inside, 1 mobile, all professional. All armed with suppressed M4s and body armor. This was going to be bad. His radio crackled softly, Kara's voice. Hayes, sitrep. 8 hostiles, rotating patrol every 12 minutes. Vandenberg's inside with 2 advisors. No clear shot from my angle. Copy, hold position. When I take my shot, you extract. Don't engage. Don't wait for me. You run. Sarge. That's an order, Corporal. Hayes gritted his teeth. Understood. But he had no intention of following that order. He'd seen what Vandenberg did to people who crossed him. He'd seen the fear in Kara's eyes when she talked about Ghost. And he'd made a promise to himself, the day Kara saved his life in Ramadi, that he'd never let her stand alone. So he stayed. Scope on the factory, rifle loaded, waiting. Kara was on a rooftop 800 meters from the factory, prone behind her M40A6, eye pressed to the scope. The wind was dead calm, temperature dropping, perfect conditions. Through the glass, she could see Vandenberg standing at a window on the 2nd floor, tablet in hand, talking to someone off-screen. His face was illuminated by the blue glow of the display, confident, controlled, completely unaware that a Marine he'd trained was about to put a bullet through his skull. Kara's finger rested on the trigger, not pulling, not yet, just feeling the weight of it. She thought about Ghost, about the bracelet, about 5 years of believing a lie. She thought about the refugee camp, the children laughing, the cooking fires, 2,000 people who had no idea they were about to become casualties in someone else's war. And she thought about Hayes, 22 years old, lying in the dirt, probably scared out of his mind but refusing to run because that's what good Marines did. They stayed. Kara keyed her radio. "Ghost, I have the shot. Waiting on your signal." Ghost's voice crackled back. "Mortar teams are in position. 3 crews, 12 hostiles. I can take 6 before they return fire. The rest will scatter or abort. And if they don't, then I keep shooting until they do." A pause. "Kara, once you pull that trigger, there's no going back. Vandenberg dies and we become the story. Traitors, rogue operators, everything we've done, everything we've sacrificed gets buried under the lie." "I know. And you're still willing to take the shot?" Kara adjusted her scope. Vandenberg was moving closer to the window. 3 more steps. 2. 1. "Yeah," she whispered. "I am." "Then on my mark." Ghost's voice steadied. 3, 2. Vandenberg stopped at the window, looked out at the desert, at the refugee camp glowing in the distance, and smiled. 1. "Execute." Kara exhaled. The crosshairs settled on Vandenberg's forehead, and she pulled the trigger. The rifle barked. The recoil punched Kara's shoulder. 800 meters away, the window exploded. Vandenberg dropped. For 1 perfect second, everything was silent. Then chaos. Contractors swarmed the building, shouting, weapons up. The 2 on the roof spun, scanning for the shooter. Kara was already moving, grabbed her rifle, rolled off the rooftop, landed on a fire escape, and started descending. Her radio exploded with Ghost's voice. "Broadcast is live. All channels. Repeat. Vandenberg is compromised. Abort operation." Then gunfire. Lots of it. Kara hit the ground, sprinted down an alley. Behind her, the factory erupted. Muzzle flashes, shouting, a grenade detonating somewhere inside. She didn't look back. Her phone buzzed. Text from Hayes. "Extracting. Meet at Rally Point Echo." Thank God. The kid was smart. She ran 3 blocks, ducking through abandoned buildings and over rubble, until she reached the rally point, a burned-out gas station they designated as their fallback. Hayes was waiting, rifle slung, hands shaking. "Sarge, did you?" "He's dead." "Jesus. Where's the Humvee?" 2 blocks south." "But Sarge." Hayes pulled out his tablet. "You need to see this." He turned the screen. It showed a live news feed. Al Jazeera, CNN, BBC, all of them broadcasting the same thing. "Breaking. U.S. officer accused of war crimes. Audio evidence leaked." The broadcast was everywhere. Ghost had dumped it across every network, every channel, every frequency. Vandenberg's voice confessing. The bank transfers, the mortar strike plans, all of it. The story was out. "Holy shit," Hayes whispered. "It worked." Kara stared at the screen, watched the headlines scroll. U.S. military launches investigation. Coalition forces stand down. Refugee camp evacuated. They'd done it. 2,000 lives saved. But the cost. Her radio crackled. "Kara," Ghost's voice, weak, strained. "I need exfil. Grid Foxtrot 9-2. Mortar teams, neutralized. But I'm hit." Kara's blood went cold. "How bad?" "Bad enough." A wet cough. "Chest, maybe lung. I don't have much time." "We're coming. Hold on." "No." You run. Get Hayes out. The story's live. You've done your part. "Ghost." "That's an order, Sergeant." His voice was fading. You did good, kid. Made me proud." The radio went silent. Kara stood frozen, the phone trembling in her hand. Hayes grabbed her arm. "Sarge, we have to go. If Vandenberg's people find us, get in the Humvee." "What?" "Get in the fucking Humvee, Hayes. We're getting Ghost." Grid Foxtrot 9-2 was a dry riverbed 6 clicks from the mortar positions. Kara drove like hell, the Humvee's engine screaming. Hayes white-knuckling the dashboard. They found Ghost slumped against a rock, Dragunov across his lap, blood pooling beneath him. His vest was shredded, 3 rounds center mass. He was still breathing, but barely. Kara jumped out, ran to him. "Ghost, stay with me." His eyes fluttered open. "Told you to run." "Yeah, well, I don't follow orders anymore." She pulled medical supplies from her pack. Gauze, QuikClot, morphine. Started packing the wounds. "Hayes, get over here." Hayes knelt, helped apply pressure. "Sarge, he needs a hospital, like now." "Nearest one's 40 clicks. He won't make it." Ghost coughed blood. "Listen to me. The device, my arm, you have to remove it before." The biometric monitor beeped, red light flashing. "Before what?" Kara demanded. "Before they detonate it. They know I'm dying. If my heart stops, my sister." "Where is she?" "Detroit, safe house. I have coordinates." He pulled a crumpled paper from his vest, handed it to Kara. "Send someone. Get her out, please." Kara looked at the device. No visible screws, no seams. Just smooth metal in that blinking red light. "Hayes, get the bolt cutters from the Humvee." "Sarge, if we cut that thing..." "Do it." Hayes ran, came back with heavy-duty cutters. Kara positioned the jaws around the device's base. "Ghost, this is going to hurt." He smiled, blood on his teeth. "Everything hurts." She squeezed. The metal screeched, bent, then snapped. The device fell away, red light extinguished. Ghost exhaled. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. We're getting you out of here." Kara and Hayes lifted him, half-carried him to the Humvee, laid him in the back. Kara climbed in, started the engine. "Hold on." Ghost grabbed her arm. "Kara, the bracelet, you kept it." She looked down. The Semper Fi bracelet was still on her wrist. Tarnished, worn, but there. "Yeah, I did." "Good." His grip tightened. "Means you never gave up, even when I did." "You didn't give up. You survived." "No." Ghost's eyes closed. "Survival isn't enough. You taught me that. Today." His breathing slowed. "You made the hard shot, the one I couldn't. That's what makes you better." "Ghost, always said you were the best I ever trained." His hand went slack. The monitor in the Humvee flatlined. "No!" Kara grabbed his vest, shook him. "Ghost, stay with me. That's an order." Hayes pulled her back. "Sarge, he's gone." Kara stared at Ghost's face. Peaceful. Finally at rest. The scar above his eyebrow. The lines of exhaustion. The man who'd taught her everything. The man she'd failed to save twice. She closed his eyes, took the bracelet from his pocket, the one she'd given him 7 years ago, clasped it around his wrist next to hers. "Semper Fi, Ghost," she whispered. Then she drove. Arlington National Cemetery, Virginia, May 2026. Kara stood in front of a gravestone, white marble, simple inscription, Staff Sergeant Daniel J. Reeves, United States Marine Corps, 1987 to 2026. Semper Fidelis. They'd given him a burial with full military honors. Flag-draped coffin, 21-gun salute, the works. The official story said he died stopping a terrorist attack on a refugee camp. Hero, martyr, the usual lies. Only 3 people knew the truth. Kara, Hayes, and Ghost's sister, Sarah, 34, elementary school teacher, living under federal protection in Michigan. Kara had called her the day after Ghost died, told her everything, gave her the coordinates. The feds had extracted her within 12 hours. Sarah had thanked Kara, then asked, "Did he suffer?" Kara had lied. "No, it was quick. Some truths weren't worth sharing." Now Kara knelt, placed a bottle of cheap whiskey on the grave, Ghost's favorite. "Hey, old man, brought you something." The cemetery was empty except for Hayes, standing 20 feet back, giving her space. "The story's still spreading," Kara said quietly. "Vandenberg's network is collapsing. 16 arrests so far, 3 senators, a CIA deputy director. Turns out you were just one piece of a much bigger machine." She paused. "Your sister's safe. New name, new life. She doesn't know you died for her. Probably better that way." The wind rustled through the trees. "I got discharged, honorable. Pentagon wanted to bury the whole thing, so they let me walk. Hayes, too." Kara pulled the bracelet from her pocket. Ghosts, the one she'd taken from his wrist. "He asks about you. Says he wishes he'd known you. I told him he did. Anyone who carries a rifle for the right reasons, they know you." She set the bracelet on the stone. "I don't know if what we did was right. I don't know if 2,000 lives justify everything. The killing, the lies, the betrayal," her voice cracked. "But I know you died believing it mattered. And that's more than most people get." She stood, saluted. "Semper Fi, Ghost." Turned to leave. Hayes fell in beside her. "You okay, Sarge?" "No." Kara kept walking. "But I will be." They reached the parking lot. A black SUV was waiting. Andrea Cole, or someone who looked like her, leaned against the hood. "Sergeant Mitchell," she said. "We need to talk." Kara's hand drifted to her sidearm. "I thought you were dead." "I got better," Cole smiled faintly. "The network Ghost exposed? It's bigger than Vandenberg, bigger than Syria. We're talking multinational, private military contractors, intelligence agencies, politicians." She pushed off the hood. "And they know you're the one who brought it down. So what do you want?" "I want to offer you a job. Off the books, no uniforms, no rules of engagement, just the mission." Cole handed her a card, blank except for a phone number. "There are more ghosts out there, Sergeant, more Marines who got sold, more refugees waiting to die, and someone needs to stop it." Kara looked at the card, then at Hayes. He shrugged. "If you're asking," he said, "I'm in." Kara turned back to Cole. "What makes you think I want to keep fighting?" "Because you're still standing here. Because you took the hardest shot of your life and didn't flinch. And because," Cole's expression softened, "because Ghost believed you would." Kara stared at the card for a long moment, then pocketed it. "I'll think about it." "Don't think too long." Cole climbed into the SUV. "The world's still burning, Sergeant, and it needs snipers who know when to pull the trigger." The SUV drove away. Kara and Hayes stood in the parking lot, watching the sun set over Arlington. Somewhere in the distance, taps played. "Sarge," Hayes said quietly. "What now?" Kara pulled out her phone, looked at the photo, her and Ghost at Quantico, 7 years ago, both of them young and stupid and convinced they changed the world. Maybe they had. Now? She pocketed the phone. "Now we remember why we picked up the rifle in the first place, and we make sure no one else has to die like Ghost did." Hayes nodded. "Semper Fi." Semper Fi. They walked toward the exit, 2 Marines with no uniforms and no orders, carrying the weight of the dead in the hope that maybe, just maybe, the next shot would matter. Behind them, the sun dipped below the horizon, and Arlington fell silent.